Coming up on News 11, the monthly COVID testing for all students and faculty began this week where both vaccinated and unvaccinated individuals must be tested. Proof of vaccination is required for all guests 12 years of age and older to enter the Key Bank Center in Highmark Stadium. The United Kingdom is sending out a third COVID-19 booster shot to people 50 years of age and older and to those who are vulnerable to the virus. These stories and more, News 11 starts right now.
Good evening, welcome to News 11. I'm Topher Elkins.
And I'm Chloe Wallach.
Well, Chloe, it's our first day back on the desk.
I know.
Master, how are you feeling?
I'm really excited. How about you?
Pretty excited.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Well, we have a lot of news to cover, so let's get right into it.
This week began the first round of monthly COVID testing for all students and faculty on campus. Both vaccinated and unvaccinated people must now head to Steele Hall once again to self-administer a test. Michael Metzger, Vice President of Finance and Administration, spoke about any changes that may come to campus.
Metzger says they are always communicating about changes involving masks and other COVID mandates. After the Pfizer vaccine received FDA approval in August, SUNY Fredonia has made it mandatory for all students to get vaccinated. These mandates come from SUNY itself. The college has been hosting pop-up clinics to ensure students have the opportunity to get vaccinated. Students must provide proof of vaccination to the college by September 27th. Students who receive a medical or religious exemption must alert the health center by the 27th.
We spoke to Jeff Woodard, the Director of Marketing and Communication, about the mandate. It's okay.
One previous dairy farmer in Chautauqua County. I don't even know if we have this story. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think we have this one loaded up. Let's just. Moving along, Fredonia Radio System Station Manager Jackson DeCarlo has announced that after a unanimous decision, they will be postponing their annual fundraiser event, Rocking the Commons. The event was originally hosted for September 18th from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. However, the construction happening in Barker Commons left the station no choice but to reschedule it for everyone's convenience. Other options, such as relocating the event to Russell Joy Park or to the Fredonia campus, were taken into consideration but denied. The date in April of when it will be rescheduled is to be determined.
On September 24th and 25th, a first-time festival will arrive in Fredonia. The Fredonia Jazz Festival is celebrating its inaugural celebration of jazz talent from the region and beyond. The outdoor festival will take place at the Rotunda Grapevine Railroad Farm, 307 East Main Street in Fredonia. Any performance before 4:30 is free to the public, but after that, admission is $15. If you pay for Friday, you also get Saturday's performances for free.
Beginning on September 25th at Key Bank Center and September 26th at Highmark Stadium, all guests aged 12 and over must provide proof of vaccination of at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine to enter. Beginning on October 31st, all individuals looking to enter the Key Bank Center and Highmark Stadium must be fully vaccinated. Guests cannot supply a negative COVID test and no exceptions will be granted. Once the vaccine mandate is in place, masks will not be required but are strongly recommended. Guests can provide proof of vaccination by either using their vaccine cards, a New York State Excelsior Pass, a clear digital vaccine card, or government digital vaccine proof of out-of-state attendees. Photocopies of vaccine cards will not be accepted. Bill season ticket holders who are not willing to get vaccinated will receive a full refund, but will lose their seats and seniority for tickets moving forward. Ron Rakuia, representative from Pagula Sports and Entertainment, says, quote, "We feel like this is the right move going forward," end quote.
A Lewistown man has been awarded the Liberty Medal for an act he performed last April. State Senator Robert Ort awarded Ryan Suter the medal for saving a 2-year-old boy on his way home from work. Susan Rosansky, the mother of the boy, was attempting to flag down cars on the I-190 due to her son's face turning a deep shade of purple. Suter quickly got Rosansky and her son Casper into his car and rushed them to the hospital. He waited with her until she was told her son would be okay. It turned out Casper had a severe case of rosolia, a common virus young kids get. Suter received the medal this past Tuesday.
Amid rumors of cities such as Austin, Texas, the Buffalo Bills are focused on staying in Buffalo. The rumors initially arose as Pagula Sports Entertainment is in the process of pursuing a new stadium and location within Western New York. The Bills have not done any studies on Austin or any other potential site. All the sources indicated there was actually a sense of optimism that a long-term home can be found in Orchard Park. The recent change in New York's governor was actually met with excitement by those involved in the deal. New Governor Kathy Hochul has strong ties to Western New York and strong relationships with many in the Bills organization who will be directly working on this deal, causing further optimism that a deal could get done in Buffalo.
On Tuesday, Utica Judge David Hurd temporarily blocked the mandate that forces the state of New York's medical workers to be vaccinated. On August 28th, the state ordered that all healthcare professionals, specifically those in hospitals and nursing homes, be required to get at least the first shot of the vaccine. However, 17 medical workers, including nurses and doctors, sued after saying their constitutional rights were violated. According to WGRZ, quote, doctors and nurses claim that their rights were violated with a vaccine mandate that disallowed religious exemptions, end quote. Judge David Hurd is giving the state until September 22nd to respond to the lawsuit.
When we come back, Dr. Anthony Fauci gives his support on a possible new COVID regulation. We'll be back.
Dr. Anthony Fauci has said that he, quote, would support, end quote, a COVID vaccine mandate for air travel. Fauci continues by stating, quote, if you want to get on a plane and travel with other people, you should be vaccinated, end quote. However, the U.S. Travel Association does not necessarily agree with Fauci. The organization supports people getting vaccinated, but believes that a vaccine mandate on air travel would be unfair for children and families who are not yet eligible to get the vaccine. Fauci explains that he is in favor of a mandate, but isn't currently proposing one. Fauci further explains that while children under the age of 12 are not yet eligible to receive the COVID vaccine, more data will be available at the end of October to determine whether or not the vaccine is safe to administer to children. A decision regarding the vaccine mandates for air travel would be made after the safety of the vaccine is reevaluated.
The California recall election results are in and the people have spoken. Governor Gavin Newsom will remain in his position despite efforts by Newsom decided
Troops being pulled from Afghanistan, the New York Times released a survey and study finding which state most refugees have resettled to. According to the State Department and a report from U.S. News, over the past 2 decades, over 97,000 Afghans have migrated to the United States. Since 2001, over 80% of refugees have resettled in just 10 different states. The most common states are California with 32% and Texas with 14%. New York was the sixth on the list with 4%.
United States President Joe Biden is the first openly LGBT woman to serve on any federal circuit court. The nominee, Beth Robinson, was an associate justice on the Vermont Supreme Court since 2011. Robinson played a critical role in legalizing same-sex marriage and helped the case that led to Vermont's civil union law, the first legal recognition of same-sex relationships in the United States. The White House has also announced that Biden is nominating Charlotte Sweeney, an employment law attorney for the U.S. District Court in Colorado. Sweeney would become the first openly LGBT woman to serve as a federal district court judge in any state west of the Mississippi.
The Supreme Court refused to block a Texas law prohibiting most abortions less than a day after it took effect. The vote was 5-4 with Chief Justice John G. Roberts Jr. joining the court's 3 liberal members in dissent. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said, quote, "The Supreme Court's cowardly dark-of-night decision to uphold a flagrantly unconstitutional assault on women's rights and health is staggering." End quote. While President Biden said, quote, "It unleashes unconstitutional chaos," end quote. Specifically, the law allows anyone without establishing any vested personal interest to sue clinics and individuals alike for, quote, "aiding and abetting," end quote, abortions performed after about 6 weeks. Abortion rights advocating late last week filed an emergency appeal with the court after a panel of the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals canceled a hearing that had been scheduled by a federal trial judge on whether to block the law.
Gabby Petito's family is desperate for answers after the 22-year-old disappeared this summer while on a cross-country trip with her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie. In July, the couple embarked on their journey in their white Ford Transit van from New York. Petito and Laundrie made Instagram posts showing them at multiple stops on August 12th and August 14th. Gabby Petito was last seen on August 24th checking out of a hotel in Salt Lake City and had last spoken to her mother on August 25th after updating her about the couple's next stops. Petito's mother said she sounded good and excited to continue her trip, and she seemed okay, but she began to worry after she hadn't heard from her daughter after a few days passed. Petito was officially reported missing by her family on Saturday, September 11th, to the Suffolk County Police Department in New York, and Laundrie has since been reported to have returned home. The FBI are actively gathering evidence and details to assist in finding Petito. Laundrie's family said in a statement that they hope Petito is found, but have not provided any further comment. The latest update on this story is Laundrie is now being charged as a person of interest in the case.
Last week, President Biden approved Governor Tom Wolf's major disaster declaration in Pennsylvania due to heavy rain, severe flash flooding, and tornadoes from the remnants of Hurricane Ida. This will allow residents in Pennsylvania and the surrounding states to receive assistance and federal funding on a cost-sharing basis for hazard mitigation measures. As damage assessments continue to roll in, additional forms of assistance may be added. Governor Wolf says, quote, "Pennsylvanians will now have opportunities to receive financial assistance, which will go a long way toward replacing and restoring their property," end quote. Emergency management agencies as well as county governments will be working in the coming days to open disaster recovery centers for impacted communities.
When we come back, we'll have Sarah Gordon give us our first sports update of the year, and we'll have a new face for our first weather update. We'll be back.
We've been down there. You gotta do the same. Post office, all you do is sign. So don't get nervous, sign your name. For selective service, it takes no time. Just sign the line at the post office. For selective service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you gotta register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down. Post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time, just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service. We've been
guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, gotta get down to the post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time, just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service.
Welcome back. We're now joined by Sarah Gorton, a familiar face for WNYF, but it's her first time here on News 11. I know you have a lot of updates for us, so welcome.
Thank you. In Fredonia sports, the women's soccer team shut out the Medai Mavericks 7-0 last night. 6 of the 7 goals came in the first half, with Bree Glazen and Maddie Payne both scoring twice, and Gabby Alston, Sophia Alessi, and Jessica Caracciolo also added goals for the team. The women's team is now 5 wins, 0 losses, and 1 tie for the season so far. In women's volleyball, the Blue Devils beat the Buffalo State Bengals 3-0, securing the first points in the Battle by the Lake. The women won all 3 sets, 25-17, 25-21, and 25-19. Kill leaders included Sierra Kiam with 13, Christy Ackendorf with 11, and Emily Jones with 10. Next up for the volleyball team is a non-conference game with Nazareth. And in national sports, in a shock to many, including myself, the Buffalo Bills lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers this past Sunday, 23-16. The Steelers' defense caused many problems for the Bills' offense, and special teams gave the Steelers a free touchdown with a fumbled punt. Josh Allen ended the game with 270 passing yards and 1 passing touchdown to Gabriel Davis. The Bills go down to Miami on Sunday to play the 1-0 Dolphins.
On Monday, Japan's foreign ministry urged its citizens to stay away from religious facilities and crowds in 6 Southeast Asian nations, warning of a possible attack. The ministry obtained information that there are increased risks of a suicide bombing attack. The warning applies to Japanese citizens in Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Myanmar, Thailand, and the Philippines. Japan has advised its citizens to pay close attention to the local news and information and to use caution for the time being. On Tuesday, the UK announced they will be administering a 3rd round of booster shots for the COVID-19 vaccine. The booster shots are available to everyone over the age of 50 and those who are vulnerable to the virus, and will be given to those eligible no earlier than 6 months after the 2nd dose was administered. With over 30,000 new infections a day in Britain, the British government has opted to increase vaccinations and decrease COVID-19 restrictions. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said, quote, "We are confident in the vaccines that have made such a difference to our lives," end quote. However, the British requirement is ready to reintroduce the mask mandates, vaccine requirements, and requiring people to work from home if the positive case numbers in hospitals surge.
This past Friday, Denmark became one of the first countries in the European Union to ease all domestic restrictions that were previously placed to control the spread of COVID-19. The country's government officials are no longer requiring residents to show proof of vaccination via vaccine passports to enter nightclubs. In Denmark, NBC Sports says, quote, NBC News says, quote, more than 83% of eligible people over the age of 12 are fully vaccinated, end quote. Although the country is seeing on an average about 500 new cases a day, their health ministry feels that with the vaccine, there should no longer be restrictions. According to a study recently conducted by the Statens Serum Institute in Denmark, they found that, quote, the Pfizer's BioNTech vaccine was more than 84% effective at preventing symptomatic COVID-19 from the Delta variant, while the vaccine developed by Moderna was nearly 89% effective against the Delta variant, end quote. The time we have today for our first episode of News 11. Sorry about our technical difficulties, but it is a learning process with our first time back, and hopefully next week we'll have everything under control. I'm Topher Elkins.
And I'm Chloe Kowalik.
See you next week.
Bye, guys.